It's a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Pick away! Villa in the lead!
Good evening, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe. You can find me on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Let's spread awareness about Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This evening, I'm joined by my special guest, Chris Forryan, who is the host of Leicester City Till TV. This is the pre-match talk show. Leicester City versus Aston Villa. Saturday afternoon, it's a 3 p.m. kickoff. We'll be looking ahead to Aston Villa's away trip to the King Power Stadium. It's our third Premier League game. Can Aston Villa bounce back from our 2-0 defeat against title favourites Arsenal, which is a very frustrating evening? We are up against newly promoted Leicester City, who won the championship last season. Aston Villa need a reaction against the Foxes. Great to have you on the show, Chris. How are you?
I am very well, thank you, and thank you very much for having me on.
No problem. We recorded this podcast before the Champions League draw. I absolutely can't wait for it. But Chris, I bet you've got really fond memories from when Leicester City were in the competition.
Do you know what? I look back and I've got it on saved on YouTube, the journey that we went on. I pinched myself that we got there. I pinched myself that we got out the group. I pinched myself that, we got to the quarterfinals. I mean, unbelievable times. And the fact, if you'd said to me, 12, 13 years ago, do you know what? You're going to win the Premier League, you're going to get into the Champions League, get through to the quarterfinals, and you'll be there at your stadium listening to your team walk out to the Champions League music with your son by your side.
It's emotional.
Sorry?
It's emotional.
It is. It was. I mean, there was a tear in my eye, I'll tell you, the first time, and I never thought I would do that with my son. But the actually, funny enough, the most my biggest memory of it is the fact that at the start of that season, Arsene Wenger, who was obviously at the time Arsenal manager, had come out and said that Leicester City would embarrass English football in the Champions League, and yet his was the team, Arsenal, that lost 10-2 over 2 legs against Bayern Munich. And we were the last English and the last British team we went further that year than anybody from, any other team from England or Britain getting through to the quarterfinals and only going out by the odd goal. So, yeah, that it was nice to shut Mr. Wenger up for once.
Well, it must have been a great experience. The atmosphere must have been incredible.
Oh, it was. And it was totally silly that we had to rename the stadium because, of course, our stadium is named after our sponsors, so the King Power Stadium. We couldn't call it the King Power Stadium. We had to have all the signage changed for the cameras inside the ground to the Leicester City Stadium, and that included the seats, because obviously we'd got white seats for, LCFC and everything. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But, oh, my God, yeah. Like I say, pinch me that happened.
Well, bring on Real Madrid or somebody.
Well, as long as it's not Atletico Madrid, because they always seem to knock us out. But look, whatever it is, mate, I mean, you've been in Europe before, obviously. You've won it before, obviously.
Have we got experience in the Conference League?
Yeah, you will have a great time, definitely.
It's all about making memories with fans.
That is football. Football is it's about a few things. It's about excitement, which I'm afraid we don't have in the Premier League anymore because of VAR. It's about the passion that you have for your team, and yeah, it is all about making memories. I meet up with my son now, and we'll sit there and we'll talk about Leicester, and do you remember in this game? And that's what football is about. Unfortunately, it is slowly being driven out of football by I don't think the authorities are bothered about the fans anymore.
Well, let's talk about the sanctions. So it must be very worrying as an Aston City fan.
Well, I guess we're kind of used to it by now. I mean, it's annoying the fact that we're going to be done by the PSR. Everton have been done by it. Forest have been done by it. There's rumours of other clubs, being done by it as well. But it's never the big clubs. And when you look at the transfer window this season, it's like we sold Kieran Dewsbury Hall to Chelsea, 30 million on a 5-year deal, £6 million a year. We got, I think I can't remember the exact figures, but we bought Golding from them, who was a youth player, for 5 million. So they get that 5 million for 1 year, but they also managed to spread over the 5 years, 5 or 6 million a year for Dewsbury. Also, it cancels each other out. When you look at so many transfers this window, it's all about clubs doing deals to get round PSR. And this table this year is going to be decided by 12 or whatever it is men sat round a table deciding they'll lose so many points, they'll lose so many points. It should be about players on the pitch winning, drawing, losing games. And that's what I'm saying. Football is not about football. It's not
really... football it's become a business now.
Too much of a business. It's like I say, it's not a sport anymore. I don't think in the way that it was. Its prices are ridiculous, but look, we want the big players, we want the big stadiums, so we've got to pay for it, I guess. But look, would if we hadn't got promoted this season, we would have been in a worse, or last season, sorry, we would have been in a worse position. So we knew that this was coming. But I always say it's a bit like a Formula One race. We might be starting in the pit lane, but we're at the race, And all we can do is just do what best we can, and what will be will be. We can't worry about it too much. Yeah. But we all know it's a con. We all know the big clubs will get away with it, and that's I think what annoys all the fans.
Because I'm in Man City with it going on. They've been doing it years before Leicester.
Yeah, and they're only just being heard now because of its 115 different cases. They're trying to change the rules, aren't they, so that it's a fine rather than point deduction. And then Man City can afford whatever fines thrown at him. But that's the annoying thing. It is one rule for the big six, and we know that Sky and the FA, they want the big six because that's what brings the money in. Somebody in Australia or America doesn't want to watch Leicester versus Aston Villa. They want to watch Man United play Liverpool. I get that, but then give them their own league. You know what I mean? Let's. And we're not going to go out of business. We've got rich owners. You've got rich owners. So we've got the money. We're just not being allowed to spend it.
It needs to be fair for all.
It does, and it isn't an unfair. It is an unfair playing field at the moment, unfortunately, and everybody but the Premier League know that.
You got Aston Villa. They have to make a big sale. with Douglas Luiz, one of our best player midfielder last season.
Mm.
But just the way it is, I mean, it's a shame.
It is. It, like I say, it isn't a sport that is decided on the field of play anymore. It's a sport that's decided in the offices at, Premier League headquarters.
Well, let's talk about the game on Saturday. So, what are you expecting from Leicester City versus Aston Villa?
You know what? We've played. We'll forget the League Cup because we were playing a game there that was a lower league team. We did what we had to do. Potential banana skin, yes, but we won it. We should have won it. The two league games that we've played so far, all right, we've got 1 point from 2 games. I don't know what Leicester are going to turn up, because if you'd said to me at the start of the season you'd have played your first 2 games and you'd have got 1 point, I would have thought it would have been a draw against Fulham that gave us that point. We were awful against Fulham.
Yeah.
But against Spurs in that second half, we were the better team.
You were, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we could have easily gone on to win that. So I don't know. I mean, we've got, our season has been totally messed up, and I know you're going to come on to it in a minute. But with things that happened, not even forgetting PSR, but with the manager and what happened there, it just totally disrupted. And when you looked at the Fulham game, Fulham looked like the team they were, which was an established Premier League team with a manager that's been in a couple of seasons, that his players know what he wants to do. He's got a couple of new signings, but if A passes it to B, he's going to know exactly where B is. We haven't got that, and that was the difference between the two teams.
It's like against Fulham. If you want to stay in the division, you need to be beating teams like that.
We do, but we have to accept. You see, we're not the Leicester that won that trophy. We're not the Leicester that won the FA Cup, that got to the Champions League, that was in Europe for 3 seasons running, or 2 seasons running. Sorry, we're not that team. We are a newly promoted team. We are starting from scratch again, and yes, those are the games you got to be, because you start this. You look at the start of the season, you look at all who you play, and you go, well, we're not going to beat them. We might get a point off them. We should beat them. And no disrespect to the teams, they're doing it about us as well. But that's not, football isn't played on a bit of paper, is it? You know what I mean? Steve Cooper, the new manager, hasn't got a great away record.
No.
I mean, he was at Forest. I think he only won 2 away games all season. So look, we're going to enjoy the ride. It's football. It'll be what it'll be.
Well, I'm looking forward to the atmosphere inside the King Power. I think the fans are going to be very loud.
They are, and I think it'll be interesting to see what sort of reception Youri Tielemans gets when he comes back.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, this is his first return game since he left, and he left. I personally hated him when he left, and the way that he left. Thank him for what he did. Obviously scored the goal that won us the FA Cup. But the way that he left us has left a very sour taste in my mouth and a lot of fans' mouths as well. It'd be interesting to see if Mark Albrighton turns up, because he's just announced his retirement today. And, of course, he came from Villa to Leicester on a free.
I met him a few times.
He seemed like a lovely, lovely guy.
He's a nice lad, a real nice lad.
And he, I don't. He could have carried on, I think. We've still got Vardy. He's not going to belt up and down the pitch for 90 minutes, every week. But, coming on for the last 10, 15 minutes, he was our best crosser of the ball. His crosses into the box were unbelievable. And, of course, he scored our first ever Champions League goal.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I forgot that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was against Bruges away. We ended up winning, I think it was 3-0 we won. But, yeah, he scored our first ever Champions League goal. We love we love Mark Albrighton, and I hope this would be the perfect game for him to come and have a proper goodbye from the fans. And if it does, that will just add a little bit more, because I'm sure Villa fans, I think, on the whole, you generally liked him, and we'll probably
yeah. I wished him all the best, though, I do believe that.
I think
he went on to a great career.
I mean, we surprised that he came, because we got him on a free. And we couldn't believe it, and he's been a brilliant performer. And yes, he had bad games. Obviously, every player has bad games. But I tell you one, that guy gave 110% every time he walked onto that pitch.
Guy did his all, dedication.
Yes, definitely.
Well, also, it's going to be East Midlands against West Midlands. Both teams need a reaction from defeats.
We do. I think, obviously, you've not played in the Carabao Cup because you're in Europe, so you miss out on this round. And that won't have done us any harm, that game. Like I say all the time, we are going to lose football matches. That's football. You're going to lose matches, but it's how you lose them. That last time when we first got promoted, we played under Nigel Pearson, and it was the great escape. We were bottom for longer than any other team's been bottom. We were losing week after week, but the players were giving their all. I live in Dorset, and I was driving up from Dorset every week or every other week to watch the home games. And not once did I come away from that stadium thinking the lads didn't make an effort there. That's what we want to see. And I think the fact that we won 4-0, and it was a very much a changed team, but I think that will give the squad a bit. They needed that. I'm glad we had that before we faced you.
But also, I think with the Spurs game, you can take a lot of positives from that.
We can. Unfortunately, we should have taken those positives into the Fulham game, which we didn't, and that was the trouble. Because when you're not winning the games that like you said earlier, that is a game that we should have looked at taking something from, and we didn't. And that knocks your confidence a bit. Coming out of that Spurs game, I thought, well, we could have a pretty decent season. We might finish 15th rather than 17th. And then you saw the Fulham game, and you think, oh God. But the Tranmere game, I mean, Tranmere, in fairness, were awful, but you can only play out who's in front of you. And the fact that we won 4-0, it was a potential banana skin. We came through it. That will give the squad confidence.
But what you did in the Tottenham game, you competed very well. You worked very hard with the ball, with the pressing. You kept battling well. I think you earned the points on that day.
100%. We deserved the point on that game. We didn't deserve the point against Fulham.
No, you just weren't good enough against Fulham.
Yeah, if we'd have got a point against Fulham would have been saying, call the police. We just had a point stolen from us, and they would have had a very good case. Against Spurs, everything we did against Spurs, we didn't do against Fulham. In that second half, and in the first half, all right, we didn't play well, but we defended well. And football's about defending as much as attacking. And, they had 13 corners in that game. Well, you don't get corners unless you are the other team's defending and getting in front and where the ball. So we defended well, but in that second half, we were first to every ball. We were, when the second ball was there, we were going for it. We were moving for each other. Against Fulham, we were passing the ball to them. We couldn't even find our own players. It was like, we're playing in blue here, guys. Pass it to one of our own. But like I say, it's a newish team. There's probably a third of that team are new, and it's a new manager who's coming in. He's playing differently to how Enzo played. So it is going to take time to settle in. We haven't got that time, obviously, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You have to play with the hand of cards that you dealt, and we've been dealt a bit of a funny hand this season.
Well, good luck to your season.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, I want to talk about the Aston Villa perspective. So for Ollie Watkins, this is a massive game for him. He needs that goal to boost his confidence.
Mm.
To get his season up and running.
I think he missed a few, shall we say, against Arsenal, didn't he?
Yeah.
To be polite, he missed a few.
Yeah.
But look, again, that's football. We know what Ollie Watkins can do. You know, look, he's an England striker now. I think he's a great player. I like Aston Villa. I like your manager. I think he's done a great job there. And if he's going to get a goal against anybody, you might as well get it. He's going to get it against Leicester. It's just the way it happens. But no, I rate Ollie Watkins. I really do.
And also, he's always working very hard. Even when he don't score.
Yeah, he does. And I think, you know, any team... look, let's be honest. You're a top 4 team. You finished 4th last season. You're in the Champions League. So you've no reason to sort of sell your best players. But, you know, hopefully you can hold on to him and build your team around him.
What is with Watkins as well? He didn't really play much in pre-season. Still rusty.
I mean, you know, when you look at pre-seasons, we had an awful pre-season, but you have to remember the main thing with pre-season is fitness, you know, and we lost all the games. Yes, we did, but then we went and got the point against Tottenham. It is all about fitness. And, you know, look at Jamie Vardy. You know, he played one pre-season game against Seville. He came off injured. He never played another pre-season game. He never trained, came on and got the goal against Tottenham. So it's amazing. It's amazing what a Red Bull will do for you before a game.
But also, I think against Leicester, I think Aston Villa's counter-attack will be really effective against Leicester.
It could well be. I don't think it would have been as effective as if we still had Enzo, because we very much were played a very high line with Enzo. I mean, yes, all right, we were in the Championship last season, but yeah, if you hit a ball over and hit us on the counter, we were going to be so open. But we've made changes. We are more defensive this season. And I think the advantage we've got is because we've got Vestergaard, who isn't the fastest defender in the world. He's got the turning circle of the Titanic. But if he's got a good player and he's got Wout Faes next to him, who is fast, and I think they do complement each other. And I have noticed in the two games that we've played in the Premier League is we're not going as far upfield as we did before. You know, before I sometimes when we were watching games last season, our back 4 weren't even in our own half. Mm-hmm. We were up past the halfway line. But so I don't think we're going to be doing that this season. But yeah, we could be susceptible to a counter-attack, definitely.
You've got like Morgan Rogers. I think since we signed him, Rogers has been excellent.
What, for yourself?
Yeah, Rogers.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've missed a whole season of Aston Villa or Premier League football generally, so I'm still catching up with some of the players from and everybody managers from different teams. But what we have got is, if we play who I think we should play on the wings, and that's Mavididi, and on the left, Fatu on the right, they are fast, but what they give us is, as well as the attacking, they're bloody good at defending. And although we'll have a left and a right back, and hopefully Ricardo will play. He's not played the first 2 games. It's been James Justin on the right, and he plays better on the left. But we've got Christensen on the left, who's good. But that will cut a lot of teams' threat off, because Mavididi and Fatou were both excellent at getting back and defending. In fact, some of the games of that season, Fatou was our best defender.
Well, I think Leon Bailey, it could be a problem for you, I think, as well. His pace.
Fingers crossed he's not. I mean, the thing we have got, we do like to counter attack as well.
Yeah.
And we lost Kieran Dewsbury Hall, but we have got Buenete in from Brighton.
He got good goal scorers.
He's an attacking midfielder.
Attacking midfielder, yeah.
And when we lost Kieran Dewsbury Hall, there was a huge gap in the friendlies, pre-season friendlies, in that position. There's nobody sort of to go through, if you like. He only played twice for us, but he is an amazing. I mean, why Brighton have let him go? I know they've signed him to an extension before he came to us, but he is just totally. He's going to be a brilliant player for us. We've got him for the season. We probably will lose him at the end of that, because he'll probably go back to Brighton. But he could be he could be the difference. He could, because I mean, on that first game against Spurs, he could have easily been man of the match.
Also, you saw Harry Winks. I like him.
I love him. I absolutely love him. And I said last season, he for me wasn't just Leicester's signing of the season. He was the Championship signing of the season. 10 million for him. That was a steal, And the fact that he wanted to come to us to resurrect his career, and wanting to come to a club, you can't buy that. You can't teach that passion. That is there, and he wanted to come, and that's always a good sign. Last season, he was like the Duracell bunny. He was running everywhere, and I mean, if Jamie Vardy's having 1 or 2 Red Bulls, I think Harry Winks was having 3 or 4. Brilliant player. He controls it. He is. If you notice, and you might have to do this as well.
Yeah.
Fulham, every time Winks got the ball, there was a minimum of 2 players on him, sometimes even 3. It was stopping him doing what he does. And that also contributed to us not doing very well in the game, because it just took Harry Winks out of it completely. But he is our midfield general.
He gives a lot of creativity.
He does. And of course, we've signed Oliver Skip now, who we played with at Spurs. So hopefully they'll get on and play well together. Skip played for the first time. Starting against Tranmere, he looked good. To say that he's a defensive midfielder, he got forward quite a bit, and I think he could challenge Ndidi to that central midfield role.
And what is Leicester City's style of play?
We're still getting used to it, because, like I say, we have this distinct style under Enzo, which was play out from the back. And that everybody seems to want to do that these days. And I absolutely hate it. Steve Cooper's come in, and he doesn't play out from the back very much. Thank God. Thank you, Steve. I mean, Mads Hermansen, our keeper, great keeper, not the most brilliant of distributors. He is very much a sweeper keeper, as a lot of keepers are these days. Clubs seem to like that. But he does. He has started kicking the ball further upfield. And it's great, because when you play it upfield, you might lose it, but you've lost it in their half, in the opposition half. When you're playing it out from the back, again, you can just as easily lose it, because teams know what you're doing. And yes, I know we did that to draw the opposition forward.
It don't work for everyone.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It worked for us last season.
Even though at Emery, it sort of works with Emery. But if you got the players to do it, then you can.
You have, but you have to be careful that once the opposition know that that's what you're going to do, they're not going to close you down.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, all right, if you want to do that, you get the ball, you come at us.
Mm-hmm.
And then take the ball and then, like you say, counter-attack. I don't personally like that style of play played out from the back. It's just too risky.
I think as well your style of play. You know, they use Jamie Vardy and Reed running in behind the opposition. The likes of Vardy likes to run in behind, stretching defenders.
Yeah, but Jamie Vardy is having to change his style of play.
Getting old, he's older now.
Yes, basically, yes. He's having to have 2 Red Bull rather than 1. But he's still our main striker. We're hoping to bring another one in before 11 p.m. tomorrow. We bought Ayew and we bought Dakova Reed. Dakova Reed's probably going to be more of a winger, though. But we bought Jordan Ayew, who again scored a spectacular goal against Tranmere. 4-0, there was 3 corkers of goals and then a penalty. But I think if we don't sign anybody, I think you will see it be Jamie Vardy playing 60 and Ayew playing 30. And then maybe the next game, Ayew 30 and Vardy, 60 and then Vardy 30 at the end, and they'll be swapped round. But Jamie Vardy is always going to be a threat. What he does is he will take the defenders away. You cannot. I wish that we could play Tottenham's defence every week, because when we got that equaliser, Jamie Vardy was in the penalty box unmarked. Now, who leaves Jamie Vardy in the penalty box unmarked? It's suicide. Crofts came in. They went, headed it in. Thank you very much. Good night, Vienna. And it was like, so he, quite often a lot of teams are putting 2 players on him, and that's just releasing either Mavididi or Fataru or maybe Reed or even Buenete to come in and get take the space and score the goal. So even when he's not involved, he is, if you know what I mean, because he is.
It's an absolute workhorse.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
If we don't build a statue to him when he leaves, there's something wrong with this club. Not bad for £1 million from the non-league, was he really?
Not bad at all. He did very well.
Yeah,
we love very well.
Yeah, we absolutely love him, and he's been so loyal to the club as well. There's a few times he could have left, and he hasn't. He could have walked away this season, and he hasn't. We love him. We love him.
So from Leicester City, fan point of view, what do Aston Villa need to do to cause problems for Leicester City?
If it's the Leicester City that turn up against Fulham, you need to just turn up. I think you win. But, I mean, Spurs got it right. But we're a newly promoted team. You've got to come at us and come at us from the start. And that's what Spurs did. Because Spurs knew in that first game that if they came and they got maybe 2 or 3 early goals, our heads would go down and then we would struggle to come back. Although, in a way, I'd said it is a bit of a disadvantage getting a new manager in when we did. But the advantage is that players don't know what style we're going to do, because other managers and other coaches, they're going to come, well, hang on, this is less. What we knew how they were playing when Enzo was there. We're not sure now, but if you can get the ball over the top, if you can cut out Vestergaard, I'd say he's not the fastest, but he can pin a ball on a sixpence from one end of the pitch to the next. And if you try to get past him, he just puts his foot out and gets a tackle in. It's amazing. But I I'd probably say hit us that day. If you can get the balls past Mavididi and Fatawu, then Christensen on the left, but definitely James on the right, because that's where the 2 goals against Fulham came. Then that would be our weak point. If he's playing James Justin on as a right back, that is probably your best way of getting at us.
I think the key thing that Aston Villa need to do, we need to be patient to find a decent opening. I think we need to be very brave on the ball.
Yes, and I think also you've got to make sure you don't go a goal down. Now, look, this is the Premier League, and if we go ahead, we know it's a different league to last season, but it's at Leicester, and if the crowd get going and we get an early goal, somehow we get an early goal, the crowd there, that they will be absolutely.
It will lift them.
It will, and we need that. We need the crowd behind us this season. And what we would absolutely love is obviously Youri Tielemans to make a mistake and gift us a goal. But there we go. We'll see.
No. But Youri Tielemans, though, even these Leicester City days, I was really admired his talent.
Youri Tielemans came to us on loan, and then we bought him. It came to us in January on loan. We bought him at the end of the season. An extremely talented player, part of that Belgian golden generation. Unfortunately, towards the end, he did blot his copybook a little bit because Brendan Rodgers loved him, and quite rightly, and we will love him for what he did for the club with the FA Cup winning goal.
That was a brilliant goal, that was.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. Although, if you notice, the Chelsea player, and it annoys me when defenders do this, but he went to his side like that. Well, you're a defender. Make yourself like that. You've got less space. Yeah. Get yourself in the way of the ball. But look, he didn't, thankfully. But he wasn't performing. I mean, well, nobody was performing in that team towards the end. But Brendan persisted with him. Brendan would not drop him. And he wouldn't sign the contract. And what annoys Leicester fans, certainly me mainly, look, when we sold Harry Maguire to Man United, he knew he was going. He wanted to go. Man United was his club that he supported as a boy. He really wanted to go. He came to the club and said, look, I know Man United want me, but you've done good by me. You got me from Hull when we got relegated. You've broken into the England squad while I've been at Leicester. I owe you. I'm going to sign a new contract, but within that, I want some clauses like I'm allowed to talk to a club in that's playing in Europe. There's a minimum fee to come and get me. So he signed a new contract, knowing that he would go, but giving us that sort of support. So when he went, that's why we got 80 million for him. Because Man United came and said, we'll give you 50. No, we want 80. We'll give you 60. We've told you we want 80. What about 70? No, look, we want 80. We want him. And eventually they paid. Now, Tielemans could have easily done that. Tielemans could have easily signed the contract and said, we'll get 20 million. If somebody comes in with 20 million, we'll buy him. He didn't. He refused to sign. So he went on the Bosman. This season, we were £30 million. It's why we had to sell Kieran Dewsbury Hall. We paid £30 million for Youri Tielemans. We got nothing for him when he left. And we were £30 million over PSR. If Tielemans had at least done been decent by us, he could have helped out with that position. But no, it was all about him. It was all about Tielemans. If I was at the stadium when his name is announced, I would boo him. That is how hard I feel about him.
You don't like him?
No, I love him for what he did at the club.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I loved him. He was a great player. so glad we had him. And I would, if he was here now, I'd kiss his bottom for what he did in the FA Cup. But I hate him for the way that he left. Same with Kante. When Kante, I love Kante to bits for what he did when we won the Premier League. But the way he left the club left a bitter taste. And that was it with Tielemans. Tielemans could so easily have signed a contract and put loads of clauses in it, so at least we got some money for him. But no, he was more bothered about leaving on the bottom and getting a bigger paycheck wherever he went.
But these days, though, money talks at the end of the day.
It does.
There's no loyalty.
No, and he had no loyalty to Leicester because he wasn't a Leicester lad. He's not, wasn't born in Leicester. But there's something called integrity as well. And, I don't think Youri Tielemans has much of that. And like I say, love him for when he was at Leicester, love him for what he did when we were in Europe and when we were in the FA Cup, but hate him for the way that he left the club.
That's fair enough.
Look, he wanted a Champions League club. He's got a Champions League club, so well done, mate.
And what I'm going to talk about as well, in this game against Leicester City, I think the fullbacks are going to be very important. Not pushing forward up the pitch and getting good crosses in the box.
We have got some good fullback. We got Christensen on the left. He is. He was out on loan last season. To be honest with you, he was at Bologna on loan, and they got into the Champions League. But Enzo didn't play with fullbacks, and Christensen didn't want to play in a back three. He said, "That's not. I'm a left back, whatever." Anyway, Steve Cooper's come in. He does use fullbacks, and Christensen. He's actually, I think he's only about 20 or something like that. He's really young, but he's got pace on him. And when he gets the cross in, rather than coming, and quite often he will come back and play the ball back. When he gets the cross in, he can be really dangerous. That goal we got against Spurs was from a Christensen cross that went too far, but it came back in, and he won the second ball, and it ended up going in the net. On the other side, we've got Justin, but I prefer Ricardo. I think if we have Ricardo start, I think he will be more of a threat.
And we've got good fullbacks as well. You got Matty Cash, Luca Digne. I like that new signing, Ian Martin, made an impact at the weekend against Arsenal.
How old is Matty Cash now? He seems to have been around forever.
I think it's about 24, 26.
Is that all? Bloody hell, I thought he was older than that.
Something like that.
Oh, fair play. No, I do like Matty Cash. I can remember him. I think we were linked with him once. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. So also, we'll talk about Steve Cooper. So, what are your thoughts on Steve Cooper?
I wanted him. I said there was 3 managers that I would have liked to have come in when Enzo left. I would have been quite happy with Corberon from West Brom because he's like the up-and-coming one, and he's been linked with everybody. So I'd have been quite happy with him. And the other 2 were Steve Cooper or David Moyes. Now, with Leicester this season, it's all about staying up. It's all about getting 4th from bottom with enough points to survive the deductions.
Get the results.
And get the results. Now, Steve Cooper, David Moyes did it twice at West Ham. He kept them up when they were in trouble. Steve Cooper kept Forest up the first season they came up. And last season, although he wasn't there, he was it was his team virtually anyway. I like Cooper. I was quite happy. I didn't want Potter. I wouldn't touch Potter with a barge pole. But Cooper, I was very happy that it was him because, look, like I say, we're not challenging for Europe. Cups, who knows? But it's all about staying up. It's all about fighting. And I honestly think that if Enzo had stayed, we would have probably got relegated again, even without the points deduction, because of his style of play. You've got to have the right players, and he probably gets those at Chelsea. But yeah, I like Steve Cooper. I'm glad he came. He took a bit of stick pre-season, but look, pre-season is, as I say, it's all about fitness rather than performances. But I'm very, very. He speaks a very good game. He's very honest. He says what it is. In that Spurs game, he came out and said, "Look, we didn't do what we were supposed to do in that first half, but that's down to me. Maybe I didn't get my points across. Maybe when I realised we weren't doing it, I should have made changes." And he sat there, and after Brendan Rodgers, who one of the biggest pork pie tellers in football, to have a manager to come out and admit that, it was like a breath of fresh air. So, generally speaking, I love the guy, and I think the majority of Leicester fans are saying, look, he's here now, he's our manager, we'll get behind him, but I don't think he's going to be a bad choice. And if we do go down, he can get us back up again.
But what about the Nottingham Forest fans? I bet they didn't like it.
Tell you what, the Nottingham Forest fans absolutely love him.
Yeah,
they didn't want him to go. I have a couple of Forest fans that are regulars on my shows, although it's a Leicester channel. We welcome anybody.
They are your rivals.
They are our biggest rivals. Derby, Coventry, Nottingham Forest, they're like the other East Midlands club. Coventry last year we had the rivalry with. Derby, it's been a few years. But Forest are our rivals. But when we talk to Forest fans, and I did actually a show about Steve Cooper with a Nottingham Forest fan. He was so like, oh God, we didn't want him to go. We didn't want him to be sacked. He was a good manager and given time and all this. So yeah, I think that the fans were disappointed to see him go. And I think when we go to Forest to play them, I think he'll get a good reception off their fans.
The big thing with Steve Cooper, he's got good experience keeping teams up. He kept Nottingham Forest up. His second season, he struggled a bit, but his first season was good.
100%. Like I say, I think he was. I think he's the right man for the job. Time will tell, obviously, but
it's a sensible choice.
I think so.
So we'll talk about Enzo Maresca. So what do you make of having what you thought when Maresca was there? He's left now.
Oh, where do I start on Enzo Maresca? When we got relegated, nobody knew what was going to go on. We're being linked with all the usual suspects: Scott Parker, Jesse Marsh, God help us. And we'd obviously been talking to Enzo for a while, because obviously we'd sacked Rodgers the season before. We'd had I forgot who it was now. Smith come in, Dean Smith, for the last few games. He couldn't keep us up.
Ex-Aston Villa.
Ex-Aston Villa. And I like Dean Smith. I was very, but we'd left it late to get rid of Cooper. To get rid of Cooper. That's a fraudulent slip. To get rid of Rodgers. So from what was available, I like Dean Smith. He brought John Terry and Craig Shakespeare, who rest in peace, Craig. And I was very happy to get him. And it was obvious then we were going to go. We needed a new broom to come in. And the way the club were at that time, I mean, look, we just had 10 years of unrivaled success. I say winning that trophy, behind me winning the FA Cup, Europe, quarterfinals of the Champions League, semi-finals of the Conference. We were on such a downer, and then suddenly this guy comes in who 6 days before had been holding aloft the Champions League trophy, Manchester City. It's like, what? How have we got him? And of course, we had a great start to the season, 17 points clear at one point in the Championship. Didn't quite end up like that, but we had a great start. Looking forward, I'm an experienced manager. We're a bit worried about his style because we thought we would be very much open at the back. But, at the end of the day, it was his team. And then totally and utterly peed off. It's football. It is football at the end of the day. We're going to lose managers. We're going to lose players. Thing is, I do not mind him going. I understand him going. We all do. We've all done it. I got offered a job once, and if I'm offered a better job on more money, I'm going to go. Of course I am. So I understand him doing that. It was the way he got players to sign extended contracts because he liked the players. Then he was up and leaving, and we just got promoted. I mean, again, I suppose it was sort of early in pre-season, so it wasn't at the last minute. So he had to go. But again, in fairness to him, thank you, Enzo. You got us promoted back up. If we hadn't got promoted, the EFL would have come after us for money as well, and we would have been in bigger poo. So, thank you for what you did. Don't think he'll last long at Chelsea, but we'll see. Nobody lasts long at Chelsea, let's be honest with you. But good luck. Thank you for what you did. It was a shame it ended like it ended. Everything that he said he wanted at Leicester, he's not got at Chelsea. At Leicester, we were supposed to go to America for a pre-season tour and training camp. And he said, no, we're not going to America. We're going to stay in the UK and I want to do drills and get the team ready. Goes to Chelsea. What happens? He's off to America because they've booked an American tour and training camp. He turns around and says, I want more control on the players that come in and go out at Leicester. And we're going, okay, then, the manager, it's your job. Goes to Chelsea. What's one of the first things he said? I have no responsibility on who goes out from this club. So it's he's definitely gone for his 6 pieces of silver. But like I say, I understand why people do it. So once you get over the initial you sort of thing, then you have to sit back and go, yeah, fair play.
Well, I'm thinking the Championship. You played some wonderful football under Maresca. I enjoyed watching you guys.
I didn't enjoy watching us.
We got just like over the line.
I enjoyed the results. It was boring football. Absolutely boring football. And a lot of fans didn't like it because it was boring football. Now, I was prepared to say, I will put up with boring football.
Results
points there at the top. Yeah. But as a spectacle, it wasn't exciting, if you know what I mean. It was like, oh yeah, 30 passes between the defenders, and we've not even got over our halfway line yet. So it wasn't exciting football, but it worked for us, and fair play. And yes, I had to say to the fans that were complaining, you're right, it is boring football, but I will put up with that while we're winning. We're top of the league by 17 points. Thank you very much.
It's just a shame with Maresca that it's style to improve you and progress them.
We would, like I said, we would have liked him another season because we would have had that continuity. We haven't got that. We lost that continuity, and that did mess our pre-season up a lot. But look, it's football. It's we always say it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? And you always hope that you're going to win something.
Let's quickly talk about Jamie Vardy. So do you think Jamie Vardy will go down as a club legend?
1,000,000% yes. That guy will run through brick walls for Leicester. I say that he he will leave a bigger legacy in football than Harry Kane will.
Mhm.
All right, Harry Kane probably got a room full of golden boots, but aside from some trophies you win for friendlies and meaningless trophies, what has he really won? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, he's obviously going to start winning things at Bayern Munich now, although it was quite funny that he went to Bayern Munich and the first season he didn't win anything. But, he will win trophies there. But Jamie Vardy is a club legend. He had the opportunity to go to Arsenal under Wenger, and he looked at it, and at that time he was playing for England, but Roy Hodgson was playing him on the wing. Well, he's not a winger. You know what I mean? And I think he realised that he would not have had the success at Arsenal that he was getting at Leicester, because they were not going to play the same way that we do. And as a striker, you feed off the service and getting the ball and the way you get the ball from the rest of the team. And he would not have got that at Arsenal. And there's a lot to be said for a player being, a big fish in a small pond, then becoming a smaller fish in a bigger pond. And, he will always be loved at Leicester. As I say, he could have gone then. He nearly did go. Then at the last minute, changed his mind and stayed. Hopefully will build a statue to him or name a stand after him or something when he retires, because he will need it. And this is the man, right? We've got 3 strikers. Vardy, who was injured, hasn't played any pre-season after the first game because of his injury. And the problem is, because he's older now, any little injury takes a lot longer to mend because of his age. We had Daka, who couldn't hit a barn door from 2 foot anyway, but he's got a hospital boot on because he's damaged his foot. And Cannon, for some reason, just wasn't being picked. So we had nobody up front. And Jamie Vardy, before the Tottenham game, went to Steve Cooper and said, "Boss, we haven't got any strikers. I want to play. I've done a couple of training sessions, but I want to go and play." Went on, played 70 minutes, got the goal. Rest, as they say. So that's what you get with Jamie Vardy, and that's why he will always be a Leicester legend.
But one thing with Jamie Vardy, his story is remarkable. So he's developed over the years, all the way from Fleetwood Town to the Premier League.
Yeah.
So when he get
and went on to England as well.
Well, yeah, he did. All his dedication. He's 38 years old. He scored some important goals for you guys.
He will. Like I say, stick him on that pitch and you're taking a couple of defenders out the game. I don't know how long he can go on for. I really, really don't. But as long as he keeps going, I'm all for it. Sure. I mean, look, £1 million, and he was the most expensive non-league footballer ever. Nobody's ever played £1 million, although he did come up that season to League Two, but he was still a Fleetwood player. They hadn't played yet in League Two. It's a non-league player. We paid £1 million for him, and you're not telling me that ours isn't the best £1 million that any club anywhere in history has ever spent, because I would argue with you that is the best £1 million. Struggled at first. I mean, he was jumping up from the 5th tier to the 2nd tier. Big jump.
Incredible.
Yeah, nearly gave up. Our chairman at the time, Vichai, rest in peace again, he put his arm around him and coaxed him through it and what have you. Nigel Pearson did. And look, yeah, it will be a film. I'm sure there will be a film about it.
100%. So can you go to the next quick passport? So we're going towards the end of the podcast. So what is your score prediction?
Heart or head? if you give me a point now, I'll take it, because look, we're up against a Champions League team. You finished fourth. I've got you down for finishing third this season, so I think you'll actually go one better. So if you gave me a point now, I'd take it. But look, I can't go against my team. So I'm going to go for we nick a 2-1 win.
Well, I'm going to go 2-0 Villa.
Ye of little face. I hope you're wrong. I do hope you're wrong, but again, it wouldn't surprise me. This isn't a game that I look at and think we're going to get something from.
I'm going to read a few comments before I finish. Was that look who's tuned in? Thank you everyone for tuning in this evening. You've got Michael Huggins. Hello all. What a fantastic draw. Then we go to the next one. We've got Kate Webster. Dougie back at Villa Park. There's we'll do probably one more, I think. Oh no, let's skip that one. Yeah, I think that's all the comments. Okay, well, I'm going to read something as well. We've got the Champions League fixtures that have been announced. We've got Bayern Munich at home, Leipzig away, Juventus at home. Oh, that's going to be, it's incredible. As long as it's meant to be, having done Leicester ways. Back at Villa Park. We've got Club Brugge away, Celtic at home, Young Boys away. We've got Bologna at home. And to finish, we've got Monaco away. But the biggest one I'm excited for is Bayern Munich, who we beat them in the 1982 European Cup. So I'm absolutely chuffed with that.
It's weird.
What do you make of it?
Yeah, weird this season because it's completely. I'm totally lost with the Champions League. Again, it's all about money. I don't get this new bloody format at all. What's it all about? Put teams in groups and the top two go through. That's what it should all be about. All this sort of, well, you're playing this and that. I don't understand it at all. It's all about money, as we say. But look, you've got some tough games in there. But you got one or two, easy. Bayern Munich's going to be hard, obviously. It was, Juventus as well. I mean, we had Club Brugge, so we beat them twice, or did we beat them once and drew? I can't remember now. Look, all I will say to you is, I mean, it's different now to when you're in Europe before. Just enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy the ride.
It's a special, man. It's a special moment. We need to make the most of these moments. Do not last forever.
I think you have, and I don't know whether you were surprised to get into fourth in Champions League or not. I mean, I
think we deserved it.
I mean, I like Unai Emery, and I think he was hard done to at Arsenal. I think the Arsenal fans didn't take to him, and he didn't get the time. But I like him as a manager. I may not like him at sort of 5 o'clock on Saturday night, but I like him at the moment as a manager. And I think he's done really well. And like I say, I think he'll get you top 4 again this season. Top 3, in fact.
Emery's a genius.
Yeah, he is a good manager. I think you've done well to get him. And I think you got some good owners in there now. I remember listening to them last time we were in the Premier League. I think they're just taking you over. They've got good plans there. They're on about, walking before running and being very sensible. You're building up a good squad. You've got some great players there. Tielemans, as much as I didn't like the way he left, he is a good player. Took a team to take a while to settle. And Watkins, you've got England's future striker. Well, not few. He is England now, but when Kane, can't run anymore, I'm sure it'll be Watkins that will be the main striker. So yeah, I mean, apart from Saturday when we play you again, good luck, and I say enjoy the journey in the Champions League. You never know when it's going to come round again. That's the thing with football.
Well, you've been a great guest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Could you spread the word about my podcast?
Yeah, I certainly will. I've retweeted it for you anyway. But yeah, I will. I'm doing another show later tonight with the Villa chap, but I will mention this one definitely.
Thank you, and also Chris as well. You can mention your podcast.
Well, as it says there, LTID TV on YouTube and on all the social medias, which you very nicely displayed there. We're on everything as well, and podcasts. Just search LTID TV and you will find us, and you are more than welcome. Everybody is always welcome to come on to it. We don't mind fans from other players, from other teams coming on. We have a bit of banter, which is what it's all about. We wind each other up, but anybody that's a little bit iffy, we just kick out. But everybody is welcome to come on and have a laugh and have a bit of banter with us.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a thumbs up, share, and remember to subscribe if you haven't. Also, feel free to leave us a review on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to wrap up this episode with Up the Villa